Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dubcast with Dubside. Today is a very special day because if you are watching this on YouTube, as you can see, I have Dubside here on video, virtual, via Zoom.
Yeah, zooming for the broadcast for the Dubcast.
So, if you're familiar at all with the content of this podcast, you'll know that Dubside has a unique relationship with technology.
Yeah, I'm getting pulled into it, kicking and screaming, but here I am on Zoom.
Yeah, he takes great steps to avoid being pulled in, and one of those is, of course, being offline as much as possible.
Yeah, but here I am online.
Here you are, and it's only because today is an even-numbered day.
Today's a computer day. Yeah.
Yeah. I do admire you for that because we all seem to be getting pulled into using technology more and more and being on screens all the time. Just the idea of not using a device every other day would make a huge difference for people.
Yeah. Well, I still end up using my devices, like my little MP3 player thing and other things on every day, but yeah. So
well, that's like, listening to music and right.
Yeah.
So let's get to the big question, which is on everybody's mind now. What is going on with Greenland, and especially what's going on with our planned trip to Greenland?
I wrote a little booklet like years ago. It's a little booklet about the Greenland kayak thing, and in the last page I said, Greenland, with climate change issues and other things going on and independent things, Greenland promises to be in the news for years to come. That was like 6 or 7 years ago I wrote that. So here we are. Yes, but all over the news lately.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like this place that no one ever really thought about, talked about, and all of a sudden it's like center stage in the world news. Have you seen the videos of these massive protests in Nuuk?
Oh,
all these
I've heard about some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like holding signs. They're crying out "Kalashit Nunat," and
they are very clear in that they are not for sale, and they find it very offensive to people that say that they can just be bought like that.
Yeah, Greenland is not for sale. That's the slogan. That everybody's saying, and there's a big sign in that crowd. Yankees go home. So it's a bit concerning if we're going to be there. NATO is sending troops there to defend Greenland against America. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, it's very unpredictable. But what I note is that for unpredictable situations, Greenlanders thrive in those situations.
Okay.
Like they where you don't have a real plan, you're just going to kind of figure out what happens. That they're in their element for that. So they're well situated to deal with this. Not that makes it easy, but I can see they'll figure it out.
Okay. People in our group have been concerned. A couple people have dropped out already.
Well, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We were thinking we might just have to call the whole thing off because things were looking way too volatile, and we didn't want to, be in the middle of a coup when we're there. And so it was looking like we were just going to have to wait till 2027. But then we decided, no, maybe we can do this.
Yeah. Well, it seemed
right?
that things just kind of. The whole issue just went away. It's certainly not in the news anymore. And
it faded down a little bit. Yeah, it's like simmering more than bubbling over. So
yeah. So maybe it was just all hype. It's just one of those media circus things. And I mean, I'm kind of actually optimistic that nothing really is going to happen, and it certainly wouldn't affect us.
Yeah, but anyway, so we're going for it. We are going in July to Greenland, and we've got 10 or more people ready to go with us, and we're gearing up for it. So
yeah, we actually had more people actually had
Yeah.
more people sign up. So that's great news.
Well, as I've been saying to at all the Kayak event USA events, we're going as the Kayak USA team. We want to have a visible presence there. The Greenlanders who understand about kayaks, which is all Greenlanders, but if are familiar with Kayak USA, which is a lot of people I've met there who I'd never who weren't involved with the kayak club but had heard about Kayak USA, we were somewhat of a different category, and that I mean that's not always the case. We're still Americans, but I've gotten a fair amount of respect of here's somebody who appreciates kayaks, who's coming to Greenland for to do the Greenland kayaking thing, and that we get a tremendous amount of um, respect for that. And so I'm hoping that being seen that way as coming to Greenland, and they're still dependent on tourism for a lot of their economy, so they don't want nobody to come to Greenland, so they
Yeah.
should be glad that we're being there. So I'm not too concerned about getting a bad feelings that way. And you might have one incident or two of somebody saying, "Oh, you're from America. Why don't you do this or that?" But then other people nearby, if they know they're with a kayak group, or there's so I'm not really concerned about that.
Probably we shouldn't be waving around little American flags as a group, or
Well,
what do you think? Should we have American? Should we have
I use my
American flags?
Greenland flag. We'll have the Kayak USA things, red, white, blue, but
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Now, like on our team jackets, we shouldn't have like the American flag on our jacket. What do you think?
Yeah, just put the Kayak USA logo on the
Okay.
flag.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. So speaking of team jackets,
yeah.
we're going to have team jackets, right? We're in the process of getting those designed and made. So we're going to look like a team.
Yes. So the jackets will be black, of course, right?
Yeah.
With we're talking about this. We're discussing what the design should be. It's going to have a
Yeah.
big 8-inch Kayak USA logo,
Okay. Kayak
just
USA
like that.
logo. Yep.
Yep.
On the back.
Printed
Big
on
one
the back. Printed on the back.
Yeah.
And this is the style that the Greenlanders use.
Their clubs,
Correct.
yeah, they
Yep.
put a big logo
Yep.
on the back usually of the particular club.
We'll also have the logo on the front and the front
Mm-hmm.
chest. We're thinking of having it say Nuuk 2026 on the sleeve,
Yeah.
and for team members, their name printed. You have the option of your name
Yeah.
printed on the right chest.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And then if people want to buy one who aren't going to Greenland just to support the team and just have to show
Yes.
their enjoyment of
Yeah,
kayaking,
well, actually,
they'll be available.
yeah, we actually might have a couple different designs. That design, and
Yeah.
also one that just has the Kayak USA logo on the front chest, and Kayak USA on the back, on the upper back. And those will be available to everybody who helps support the mission. So,
And we have the official dates now. It's July 1st to the 10th is the competition. And we're planning to go. We'll be leaving maybe the 30th of June. I was looking at the flight details, and that's amazing. You get to New York, and then in 4 or 5 hours you're in Nuuk. That's
yeah, it's not that far.
That's not how I usually get there. I'm in Copenhagen, and go. Yeah, you've heard me tell the stories about the whole saga of just trying to get to Greenland. So yeah, that'll be amazing.
Yeah. The other concern, getting some kayaks over there.
The kayaks. Yeah.
We'd have a couple solutions. Miligiak is going to let us borrow one of his kayaks.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to be bringing a Feathercraft Katslano, which is their Greenland style folding kayak. Well, what do you know about the Katslano, Dubside?
It's 17 feet, 10 inches long. It takes quite a while to put together because it's got these extra members in there and extra rods and bars and stuff in there. So some people have described it as a semi-folder because once you put it all the way together to take it apart again, you're kind of reluctant to do that. So,
Yeah.
But putting it together once in Greenland and once to get it back is not going to be too bad. But you got to allow, even if you're practiced at it, a half an hour to get the whole thing assembled. But it can be done. It's a nice kayak when you've got it all together.
Yeah, I think that was the big problem with it, and why it wasn't very popular, because when you have a folding kayak, it's like you you keep it in your apartment or your condo, and you take it down to the lake, put it together, go out paddling, take it apart, and take it home, right? This apparently was unpopular because it was not that kind of, was not that easy to assemble.
Yeah.
Plus, because it was a low volume Greenland style kayak, if you were going to take it on a trip, it's not going to have a lot of room for camping gear.
Yeah. It's limited volume inside.
Yeah. So, but I think for this Greenland trip, it's actually a perfect solution. Just thought I'd mention this. Another interesting thing I ran into looking into folding kayaks was the new Not-A-Raid Nuuk. Have you seen that one?
I saw it just briefly. Yeah. The Not-A-Raid's a French company. They don't market it very much in this country, so we don't hear about them too much. But they're another one of these folding manufacturers that still exists at this point. And they go back, but decades, like 50, 60, 70 years. They've been around a long time.
Yeah.
But so it's a wooden frame on the inside with the skin on the outside. And it's a nice design. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a true low volume Greenland style folding kayak with a wooden frame, PVC skin, pretty narrow, low volume, a little tippy. I mean, you can see that on the videos.
Yeah. Like a Greenland kayak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be perfect for this kind of trip. Maybe something to think about in the future. If anybody has one of those, we'd love to hear about what you think about it.
Yeah.
Let us know. What are all the different ways that people have gotten their kayaks over there?
Well, you can ship it ahead of time in a shipping container, and you have to put it away for like a 2 weeks ahead of time to the shipping company, and you won't see it. You won't be able to practice it at the last minute. People have also built a kayak and then built a skin-on frame and then taken it apart and then taken it over there with them and then put it together when they got there. You need some experience in building to do that, but that's the method.
And some people just showed up and borrowed a kayak when they were there, right?
You can also do that, yeah.
Yeah. In this upcoming episode, you'll find out how Tim Gallaway handled it.
Yeah. So Tim will tell us about the time he went to Greenland, and I'm hoping everybody can get excited about the competition. And even if you have no plans of going there, you can be a spectator from afar, as in my recent article that I wrote in the Masik, which you can link to. It tells you all the things to watch for as a spectator from afar. And hopefully, with our gang there, we'll have people dedicated or diligent enough to put up regular postings so everybody can know what's going on and where the standings are and what excitement's happening. And I know when we're there, things will be so busy and crazy that it'll be, you're reluctant to sit down and type something out and post something but we have to be diligent about that so we can keep everybody informed. So everybody all around the world can keep track of what we're doing.
All right. So that's the update. I'm super excited about going, and I've been working on my roles, working on my at least learning the Greenlandic names for the roles. Finally, I'm certainly not as flexible as I was 15 years ago, but it's going to be great just to be there, just to see everything.
Yeah, we might end up being on a team together, rolling team. We do the team rolling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We should do the team rolling.
and also, what we will do in Greenland, we'll do some interviews. So video interviews of people that are like the two of us interviewing somebody together, and you'll see all of that in months to come on the Dubcast with Dubside.
All right. Fantastic. Okay, good seeing you. We'll talk later.
Welcome to the Dubcast with Dubside. This is a special guest edition of the Dubcast featuring the return of Tim Gallaway. We last heard from Tim in November of 2021, so it's been a while. I talked to him about his trip to Greenland in 2018, some flight delays he had getting there, the kayak that he brought there, him getting very lucky and finding a place to stay, the weather, the mosquitoes, his experiences at each of the competition events, the racing, the rolling, the harpoon throwing, and the ropes, and the food that he enjoyed there, as well as the pure drinking water and other things to drink. This runs about 45 minutes or so. All right, it is October 2025. It is the last day of Delmarva here in Camp Arrowhead. And I'm talking to a past guest on the Dubcast with Dubside, Tim Gallaway.
Returning guest. It's wonderful to be back.
Yes,
and actually with you this time, because last time I talked with Andrew.
Andrew, oh yeah. So direct interview.
Direct interview now, yeah.
Dubside on the Dubcast, yeah. So, and how many years ago was that? That's
probably 3 years or something now.
Okay.
It's been a while. It was pretty early on.
Was that before or after you went to Greenland?
That was after.
Okay.
Yeah. You hadn't started the Dubcast.
Okay,
back
yeah.
then, because that was 2018 when I went to Greenland.
Yeah. All right, that's true. Yeah. So, as you probably heard over this weekend, I'm trying to hype up a team to go to the Greenland next year to give Kayak USA a good representation. So I would like you to tell me about your impressions of going in 2018 and just how that was for you and your insights as to what's involved in going to Greenland.
Oh, geez, where to begin? So, I mean, when I went before the new flights from New Jersey, so I went through Iceland. I mean, that worked out really well. My wife and I spent almost a week driving around the West Fjords in Iceland. Really amazing place. Yeah. I mean, we got to be honest, travel in and out of Greenland can be tough. I mean, I've heard stories many times from many different people of getting stuck somewhere. Happened to me. We were flying into Nuuk. It'd been a really beautiful flight, but coming up on the approach, the fog was so thick, we weren't allowed to land. So they diverted us to Kangerlussuaq, further north to the big airport there. And they put us up for the night in I think it was an old army barracks, turned hotel. Yeah. Nice accommodations. And then it was and then they flew us to Sisimiut down the fjord the next day, and then to Nuuk. So I got there. I got lucky. I only arrived about 24 hours late.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not bad. Yeah, as opposed to 3 days or 4 days like some people have. So, but once you get there, you can access pretty much anything by foot or bike, or the bus system is ubiquitous and easy to handle, even for a foreigner that can't read anything in Greenlandic. So it's easy to get around once you get there.
Yeah. All right. And did you bring a kayak or borrow a kayak, or how'd you work that?
Kayaks for me are often hard to find just because I'm about 6'5", bit over 200 pounds. I'm a big guy, long in the leg. So finding a kayak that would fit me, I knew would be a challenge. There's not many people in Greenland in general, or people in general anywhere, that are as tall as I am. Yeah. So I went kind of over the deep end a little bit with my planning of it. Is I built a skin-on frame over the winter to practice at home, and then in the springtime I recreated that kayak but didn't skin it, and I made some adjustments that kind of made it bad.
You took that one apart, or you made a duplicate?
You
cloned a kayak.
I cloned one badly. Okay. I think is the best way to put it. I cloned it badly. I kind of messed up the hull shape a little bit, and then I cut it into pieces. Okay. Which was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done, because here's this 18-foot sea kayak.
Beautiful work of art, this beautiful frame, and you take a saw to it.
Take a saw and put into pieces, and I built a box for it. So it was about the size of a golf bag or so. I made it out of plywood, and I had the whole frame, the skin, the coating.
To take it apart, like down to the separate piece, or just like sawing like it in half or thirds?
It was every 4 feet. I did a joint. Wow! So that way it could go back together with some pegs to fasten. It's a scarf joint.
Yeah.
So they kind of hook together in a way. It was a process.
Yeah.
So I assembled all of it. So just traveling with that kayak was fun because it weighed about 60 pounds or so. So I had to schlep it. I put wheels on it, thankfully, but I had to schlep it on the train to Chicago. Then checked it in, got it to Iceland, and then schlepped it through the airport.
So this went with you as you went to Greenland.
The whole
so
way
you had
through,
all your extra clothes and gear and stuff, plus this kayak to carry.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that with a feathercraft, but
Right.
my rig was a little bit lighter and smaller than yours probably was.
Probably,
so I can appreciate that.
So I had the building hardware as well. I didn't know what materials I would have, so I brought some extra drill bits. I brought needles, and the skin alone and the coating was heavy.
So the skin, you had to start from scratch with that, put a whole new skin on it. You can't reuse a skin after you cut it off.
Right. Yeah. I never skinned it to begin with.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I cut it roughly and did the ends, so it was close.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have to cut a lot off and have a bunch of waste when I was there.
All right.
But yeah, it was still a big part of the process when I got there.
So you had to get there, what, like you gave yourself several days?
I gave myself, I think, 4 or 5 days ahead of time before the event. But the one thing I always bring up is, this kayak box was heavy. And while I was in the airport waiting for my flight to Nuuk from Keflavik, the kiosk for Air Greenland opened up. And I rolled up, and the guy went, "Oh, sorry, that'll be oversized luggage." And I was like, "All right, I'm ready for this. This is going to be really expensive." And he weighed it, and he got the little credit card thing out, and he said, "Oh, the reader doesn't work." Well, have fun in Greenland.
Oh man,
I know. I was so excited because I saved a lot of money.
Yeah,
like a third of a plane ticket sort of money. And then it just went on the plane and. And then when I got to Greenland, I found the clubhouse, and I talked to Pavia Tobiasen.
Yep.
Talked to him online briefly, and he said, "Yeah, you're fine to build in the shop." So I drew a lot of interesting looks from people, like, "What's this white boy doing here, building this kayak in our clubhouse?" But because I was there for 4 or 5 days, for big parts of the day, I got to meet a bunch of people. It was kind of a slow introduction. I kind of met a few people each day. Like some people like Jacobine Kleist.
Jacobina.
Yeah. She could
speak English.
She spoke
she's an
English.
interesting character.
She was one of the first people that welcomed me and was like, "Hey, welcome to Nuuk." And she kind of helped me out with some, just knowing what to do, where to go.
Yeah.
And the thing I thought was so funny is there were some times when some of the younger members of the team were there working on equipment or getting ready to go practice, and there's they'd have the radio blasting, and it would oscillate between Greenlandic rap and American hip hop and Danish rock and roll, and just it would switch back and forth, and it was such a fun environment to be in. Just kind of not part of the club, but just kind of watching all this stuff happen there.
Yeah. During that time, where were you staying?
So I planned on being there for about 3 weeks. So the 4 or 5 days before the events, then there's about 10 days for the whole thing to happen, and then about an extra week after, because I wanted to hike and explore, spend time there, because it's such an amazing place. And so I knew I could have stayed at the school. With all the other teams for that week. For that week, yeah. But before and after, you had to find something else. And so I was looking online, and I went on couch surfing. Okay. And I was looking around Nuuk, and there were a few people, and I found this guy, Christian, who lives on the northwest side of town in some apartments. And I contacted him, and I saw in one of his pictures he had a kayak. Just a plastic production kayak or something. But I'm like, aha, this guy will get it. And he said, "Yeah, great, come stay with us." And I was really excited. And then
for this couch surfing thing, what do they charge you per night roughly?
Some people will charge you minimally, the equivalent of $20 or $30, wow. They didn't charge me anything.
Really?
It was, so that's kind of the idea with couch surfing, is it's a reciprocal thing. And so, you might just have a couch, you might have an air mattress in someone else's space. Yeah. And so the idea is that if you use someone's space, you offer your own space to someone else.
Right.
You know, so it's
Okay.
very pay it forward sort of thing. And
So
so,
if you had people stay, besides me, have you had people stay? You got a whole guest room in the basement.
yeah, we do. Yeah. So, you've been at our place a number of times. We've had other paddlers, you know, our friends are over all the time. Yeah.
All right.
We've had some vagabonds float in and out, which is fun.
All
You
right.
get to talk to interesting people.
Yeah.
But I had a scary moment with that because about 2 days before we were going to get there, I think I was in Iceland.
Yeah.
He messaged me in an email and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We're not going to be in town that couple weeks while you're here."
Yeah.
I was like, "Crap! I need to find somewhere to stay."
Yeah.
Like that was my first thought. And then he said, "Well, we're going to be in Denmark, but my mother-in-law is going to be there." I was like, and he checked and said, "Yeah, she's fine if you stay there too." And so her name is Astrid, and she was from Disco Bay area, further north in Greenland.
Yeah.
And so she's been living in Denmark for a while, and so they house swapped.
Yeah.
So Christian and his family went to Denmark, and she went to Greenland to visit all her friends.
All right.
And so I had her as my Greenlandic grandmother for a couple weeks. So
Wow.
she made some meals for me. I made some meals for her, baked her some bread, and we had a really lovely, relationship. I'd be gone early in the morning and be back, and I'd meet her friends, and it was just
when
really
you're actually
lovely.
in a local person's house,
Right.
It's different from a hotel. You actually see here's how they live and here's what goes on. Yeah, it's a whole different insight.
And her as well, like coming back to Greenland. She does one trip a year sort of thing.
Okay.
And having her friends over for dinner. Like there were a lot of times, like you've kind of discussed it, like sitting there and there's Greenland, Kalashit chatter going on, and you're like, I have no idea what is happening, but the vibes are really good.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying my time here. And so I had a number of times like that. Just here I am. They're hanging out in this space, observing in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So you said that was the northwest part of the city. So to get to the club was how far? You would walk that or take a
It was
bus
about
or?
a 20-minute walk.
Yeah. Okay.
25-minute walk or so. And it's basically straight south down to the old harbor. And it went through down this one hill and like through a little river. Like there's a little creek flowing through, and then back up into another neighborhood and down. It's just a really lovely walk most of the time. But and that was something that, again, as an outsider, learning the space and the environment is the weather. Everyone thinks Greenland can be cold, and it absolutely can be. But it was peak summer, mid-July. So there were some days walking down to the harbor. It's like, oh, I'm getting hot. Like I'm down to a t-shirt sort of thing. And then the next day it could be pouring rain and super windy, and it can switch back and forth. And it's such a dynamic environment to be in.
So if you were going to go to the club and the sun was out, would you not bother with like a raincoat or warmer stuff?
I would put it in my backpack.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, because you always want to have something, because like you can be standing in the sun and be pretty warm, and then the wind changes direction off the ocean. And the temperature
and
drops.
That cold air coming in off the water, just within a space of a minute or two, you can just feel the temperature drop. Yeah. And what about being prepared for mosquitoes? Because if lots of wind, it's not a problem. But if you don't bother with your mosquito stuff.
I follow so I'm from northern Michigan. I'm used to bugs, used to flies. Those Greenlandic mosquitoes weren't too bad.
Okay.
In my opinion, they weren't. I mean, they weren't great, but they weren't the worst I've ever experienced.
Okay.
And I did the same thing I do at home. I wear layers that they can't get through.
Yeah.
So a light jacket, a sweatshirt that's a little bulky, they can't bite through.
Yeah.
And you just deal with them.
All right.
That's what you do. Yeah. That's like anywhere. You can have a day that they are absolutely miserable, and then the wind shifts again off the ocean, and they all go away.
Yeah. So the actual competition and the event stuff. So then you moved to the school where they put up the competitors?
No, I was able to stay at
all the way through.
Yeah, the whole way through.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't overstate this enough. I got incredibly lucky finding that place and that family and being able to stay with Astrid for that that duration. It made a big difference just to have a space that was static. That I didn't have to think about too much.
Yeah.
I know also like I can I can get peopled out a little bit. You just kind of kind of like, all right, I'm done dealing with people and being around, and so it was nice to be able to escape and get away and have some quiet time. Like even in the evening, there was a kind of a bluff, big rocky hill behind the apartment, and I spent many evenings just sitting up on that pile of rocks, looking out over the ocean and journaling or taking photos. And there were a lot of times.
And you got daylight till past midnight.
Yeah,
so
I'd be sitting up there at midnight, 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. or something, and just like, wow, like I can still read a newspaper out here.
Yeah. Wow. So the actual events and stuff, how did your kayak perform?
Not great.
Really?
Yeah,
So the first day is usually the short race.
Yes.
Right?
The short race, the kayak was reasonably fast.
Okay.
It just didn't have great secondary stabilities. So it was kind of wobbly. I made, cloning,
this
I messed
actual
up.
frame had never had a skin on it before you shipped it to Greenland. So you'd never actually tested this.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so the kayak that I made that I still have at home is a total...
The clone of it, it was supposed to be the clone of it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when I made it as a cheater rolling kayak.
Okay.
So it's got a really low back deck, not a lot of volume. And as I was using it, I realized like even if I made an exact copy, it would probably not pass the requirements for freeboard in the back.
Yeah.
It was just too low. So I went, all right, I adjusted some of the dimensions, and I'm not a good enough builder to know all those relations of how those things all work.
So you're trying to correct for that with the new one.
And I messed up the hull shape. I know. And not being able to test it as well. I was kind of rushed at the end getting it together. So I'm like, it happens. So the kayak was fast. It was, it moved along quick.
All right.
But the joke I always say, so Elias.
Elias,
Inuksuk. Yeah. So he was, he was around everywhere, and for about a third of that short distance race, I was right on his tail, and I just couldn't get past him. I was trying so hard, and he just kept ahead of me, and I was fighting for it, and just couldn't get by him. Yeah. And I'm like, cool, I'm almost as fast as the slowest old guy in the race. It's like, all right, I'll take it. I was pretty happy with it. But those guys are fast. They're powerful paddlers. Yeah. At the end of the race, there's the tradition of rolling. Like a celebratory roll.
The coolest racers will flip over and roll to please the crowd.
Yeah. And it's
with no tulik on or anything.
Just like a shirt, basically. And you do it for the crowd. Like you've always said, like these events are for the kids. They're for the families. Yeah. So you give them a show. And
so you were up for the show.
I was up for the show, and I was warm. I was really warm.
You're full of adrenaline.
Yeah.
So you're pumped.
So like the water, you don't feel the cold of the water. It's just exciting. Yeah. But I came up, and woo, everyone's excited and cheering. And then up on the side, I heard Wolfgang, who was running a trip with Maligiak, heard him shout, "Do it again! I didn't have my camera ready." It's like, you son of a... All right.
So you did it again?
I did it again. He got the photo, but that second time I felt the water.
That's my experience. The first one, you think, oh, I could do that. Yeah. The second one, that one.
When it hits your chest, when you're warm.
You got all the wet surface for the water to be primed to like saturate now. The second one will get you.
And then going in, and you're just like, that first one was a good idea. The second one, bad idea. Not doing that again.
Yeah. So tell me about the rolling competition. That would have been a couple days later.
Yeah. That was, if I remember right, that was one of the worst days for weather.
Okay.
We had a lot of rain and a lot of wind. And I've got some footage of it, and like rain's coming in sideways.
Yeah.
And the Nuuk team, the Nuuk group had stuff pretty well organized from my perspective. Like things were laid out pretty good. They more or less stuck to the schedule.
Okay.
So as I've heard stories from you too about how you're waiting all day and stuff. So like I was ready for that. I had an extra jacket and a hat. Like, all right, I'm ready. I'm like, oh, like, but they announced it and I got ready and it happened.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm mixing up my my details. The worst weather was for the group rolling.
The team rolling.
That was when it was really bad.
Okay.
But solo wasn't as bad.
All right.
But sorry. Anyway, the kind of the same sort of feel. Like you're doing the roll for the crowd. You're doing it for fun. Like
Yeah.
I knew going into it with my kayak, I wasn't going to do great.
Okay.
Just because of how it felt in the water. So I missed some rolls that I would normally get. So I didn't get some of the more advanced laybacks just because I didn't have the stabilities. So I'm like, whatever, it happened. I wish I could have done better, but that's fine.
They were calling him out in Greenlandic?
They sure were. So I mean, kind of learning from you, like the names and stuff. I know some of them, or I know some pieces of them. Yeah. But I don't know all of them. I can't list them off. So a friend of mine gave me a Norsak a year or two before, and has a nice broad shape to it. So I wood burned kind of in shorthand all of the rolls on it.
All right.
And so I could look at that list and go down the lists.
Yeah.
And knowing enough of the names, I could make sure I was following the order.
Yeah.
And that worked pretty well.
All right.
And I also luckily had Milligak was in the water as like a spotter boat. And so he was able to give me some points and make sure I was doing stuff in the right order.
Yeah.
But the thing that I thought was most fun about coming off the water for those is like everyone just kind of ends back at the clubhouse just dripping wet and kind of huddled in a corner, just like drinking tea and eating cookies, still in all of your equipment. Because like if you're dressed up, you have a dry suit on or a tunic and everything, like you can stay warm and warm up quick, but as soon as you get that stuff off, especially if you're outside and the wind hits you, that's when you get cold. I've got a really funny photo of a couple of the guys on the international group with me that were after the group rolling sitting in the upstairs of the clubhouse where they do like the paint where they do the skinning, just sitting on the floor in their tunics eating cookies just warming up. So I mean the team aspect and the camaraderie, like we're all doing this stuff together, and that's what in my head, that's the parts that I really remember. Is being there with the people.
Did you do the harpoon throw?
I did. That one was really quick.
Okay.
I mean, because it was
in 2018, you were getting more than one try for the distance and the accuracy.
I think we got 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And that one was really kind of short notice. Like they did the kids, and they did men's and women's groups, and they did international, and so I basically just pulled my dry suit on quick, hopped in the kayak, threw a couple times, and got out. Did you
have your own harpoon for that?
I did not.
You borrowed one?
I was borrowing one. Yeah, so I think I had 2 or 3 throws before I tried
practice.
Off away from stuff. And then the couple throws for the thing, and there was only the few of us in the international division.
All right.
And so I was in my kayak for 20 minutes. And then got out, took my dry suit off, and went about my day. And it was that one was really quick, but that one was also I think one of the more like exciting for the crowd. Because everything is happening right there in front of everyone. And every now and then someone would go and just turn that harpoon into a missile, and it would go so like
with the distance one.
Distance. You could count how long is it. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Geez, it's still going. 3 Mississippi. It would go so far. And just the strength and the skill to do that is really amazing. My throw was not nearly that good.
For the accuracy, did you get it in any of the rings on the target?
I think I got 1 into the outside ring.
Oh, good for you.
So I got some points, but I think I only got one of my throws in. No bullseyes or anything. So
then did you get a medal for accuracy?
I think so.
Yeah.
I got a handful of medals.
Good for you.
They hang up on my wall upstairs, so I see them every day.
And you competed on ropes?
I did. Yeah, that was one of the days that was really exciting and fun to watch because I was inside in the gymnasium, and it's not a huge space, and everyone is just hanging out, sitting around, and in little groups and clusters, and
they had it was 2 or 3 stations. Judging stations,
something like that.
Same time
kind of spread out.
Yeah.
So people were cycling through and moving, and so someone might be doing high ropes at one end, and then some kids doing some stuff on the other, and kind of back and forth. So there's a lot of excitement and energy going. And then when some of the competitors that are doing some of the really challenging moves, are partway through it, people start clapping and cheering, and it'll just kind of erupt out of nowhere. Yeah. And I did okay. I was pretty happy with my ropes. I still went away with bleeding hands.
I'm trying to think about trying to remember it, and I remember I got the plane ticket before they extended the competition. I missed the entire ropes event. I wasn't there. I had to fly back.
We were all really bummed. We were really hoping to see you do ropes that day.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. It's all right. It happens. We were hoping to see that, but
yeah. And no wonder I can't remember.
You weren't there.
Yeah.
There was near the end of my session, I did. I could do a couple of the high ropes, where you hook your leg over and do. I don't remember. Some of those. And I was doing a couple of those, and I had Nina filming it. And she was filming me, and then in the background, as I was hopping off the rope, there was I don't remember who it was doing in a katsinuk. Yeah, there we go.
Hanging on your fingers.
Katsinuk is the sculling brace. Never mind. Yeah. But where you hang from the rope with your hand under your chin.
Chin on your knuckles as long as you can manage.
Yeah, and your arm behind your back and your feet lifted.
Yeah.
And so I do my couple moves, and he's hanging in the back, and I do another move, and he's hanging in the back.
And he's still all the way through. Wow.
And I land down, and he's still hanging there. And I think he was there for 30 or 40 seconds.
The crowd is clapping by then.
Everyone's it's just getting louder and louder, and he's like a statue, just hanging on the rope, and it's getting louder, and finally he just calmly hops off, and people are like, yeah, all excited. Yeah, it was that environment was infectious, the energy, the fun, and something too that wasn't planned or thought of or anything. Kind of later in the day, as stuff was kind of wrapping up, they did I don't remember the name of it, the drum game. Have you seen the drum game before? So it's something from Arctic Canada that's kind of been adopted.
I've seen it on the Arctic Winter Games YouTube from
it's more of a Canadian thing, but they've adopted it.
So you have 2 teams, right?
Yeah, and the 2 teams facing each other, and usually they have a bunch of drummers around them. Yeah. They had it just playing on a stereo.
Okay.
And you have a bunch of beads kind of spaced out in some pattern. Yeah. And then people have to grab them and hide them. And they're doing these dance moves and stuff, trying to fool the people across.
So the other team is trying to figure out who's got it. Right.
Yeah. And so you're doing all these patterns, and they're trying to move it around all stealthily, and it's just this chaotic dance back and forth between teams, and kids and parents are playing it together, and it's loud, and the other laughing and pointing at each other when they show where the beat is, and that was something that I'd never heard of at that point. And
I would guess that is. It's part of the Inuit tradition thing, but it's not directly associated with kayaking, so it's not part of the kayak competition. I'd never seen that in Greenland, but I'm sure that they do it. It's just that it's not part of the kayak event. So
it was just.
But I remember watching it on the Arctic Winter Games coverage on YouTube and things, and there's similarities to that when other sorts of things I've seen, game concepts like that. When we were kids, we did one at a table. But it was hard to figure out exactly how the rules were going.
I watched for a good 10 or 15 minutes. I had no idea how the rules
worked. A little bit more. Because the way we did it as kids, there was no music or anything involved. But they got this whole dance thing going on. It
was really cool to see, and new and unexpected, and really it was fun. It was so fun, just the energy of it.
So tell me about the food experience of things to eat in Greenland.
I really enjoyed the food in Greenland.
All right.
I don't know, something about it. I just the best way I can describe it, I burned really clean in Greenland. like my stomach was always happy. Like I had high energy, and I stayed warm. I mean, so I was also partaking in pretty much anything anyone handed me.
All right.
So one of them that was a surprise, but I actually quite liked was amasat.
What's that?
The dried fish.
Yeah. I like those.
Capelin or
So yeah,
smelt.
it's not exactly sardine, but maybe sardine sized.
Yeah,
little fish like that.
Yeah, big
dried.
sardine.
Yeah.
Dried whole. I think they just rip the guts out and then dry it. And,
Yeah.
Kind of salty, briny, iodine-y.
Yeah.
But I thought quite tasty.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had that every now and then.
And some people like bite down to the tail and throw the tail away, or you can just chomp down the whole thing and swallow it.
Yeah, like a seal.
head and all.
Eat like a seal, just eat the whole fish.
Yeah.
So amasat was quite good. I had seal stew a couple different ways. I had it. Astrid made it for me and some of her friends one day, and she had had like whole ribs and stuff in it. So it was strong, very strong flavor. I quite liked it. I know other Americans and Europeans that have had it. They're not fans. I quite enjoyed it.
I tell people it's an acquired taste.
Yeah, it was.
The first time I ate it, I was pretending I liked it to be nice, but since then I've had it prepared nicely and enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, the matok as well. Had that a couple times. I brought a package to Astrid because she said she really liked it, and I said I saw it in the grocery store. I'll bring you some. And she cut it up with a bit of salt, rock salt, and really enjoyed it. Let's see. The things that I didn't expect that I had a lot that was very tasty, the smoked lamb and the smoked halibut or flounder.
Yeah.
I mean, you could buy it in the grocery store for not too expensive, and it's really tasty and fatty, and like it's warm. Keep your body running warm. And one more thing. I'm trying to remember.
Muskox.
Umingmak, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have some of that?
I had some of that. Yeah, it's like really lean, rich beef.
Yeah.
I like that too. And the surprise though that I wasn't expecting to have was Maliak had some as almost like a Greenlandic charcuterie board. Dried or smoked, I don't remember, humpback whale.
Okay.
And it, kind of the same kind. It's just a really rich beef sort of flavor, but not beef. That was probably my favorite single thing I'd never had before. There was that whale jerky.
Yeah. So a meal wouldn't just be that meat. Like what else have they got? They got some vegetables or starchy something.
Yeah, canned potatoes were really common. Or potatoes and carrots. Root vegetables that travel and survive well. Had rice every now and then.
Yeah.
But it was not very pretentious food, really simple, straightforward, meat and potatoes sort of vibes.
Tell me a typical breakfast is what?
So for myself, I would tend to do like a bowl of oatmeal. I was at Astrid's place, so I didn't have the breakfast at the school or at the school very often.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stuck with things like oatmeal, kind of make a muesli, nuts. I was kind of following the Dubside breakfast in a way.
Right. Good for you.
Not as to the extent, but just a big bowl of stuff.
What I like
warm.
about oatmeal in Greenland is, I guess it's like the oatmeal in Denmark. It's inexpensive.
Yeah.
I think it's grown in Denmark, so it's the price you can get a big bag of oatmeal for not too much.
Yeah, I ate a lot of oatmeal.
Yeah,
it's very tasty.
And what do they have to drink in Greenland?
Well, so I personally am a fan of microbreweries and beer. So like the Kayak beer. Kayak Brewing Company.
It's called Kayak beer.
Yeah.
Is it QAJAQ?
QAJAQ. So there's 3 or 4 types that they make. And so I tried a bunch of those. Those were quite good. And there's another brewery, I think.
So would I be correct in assuming that the water they're using to make this beer would be like glacier melt, totally pure?
It must be.
Yeah, what else could they use?
That's all the fresh water they have.
Yeah.
And I mean, the grain is all imported, but it's all brewed right there. There are a couple other beers that are brewed in Nuuk, I believe.
Okay.
That I had that were quite tasty. There was a stout. I don't remember the name of it, but it was really good. But they have the kind of the normal grocery store energy mixes and electrolytes and all of that stuff. But I always bring up like the water the fresh water there can be really, really nice because it's straight off those glaciers.
Yeah.
In my last week, I was hiking up the big mountain that's kind of on the northeast side of town that overlooks everything.
Yeah.
And got partway up and was running out of water. And so I just found a creek flowing out of the ice field.
Yeah.
And dunked my
Fill up your
bottle into
bottle.
it.
Yeah.
And it was so cold and crisp and clean. And I mean, can't bottle that water. It'll ruin it.
Yeah. So you said after the competition, you stayed for another week or so.
Yeah.
And what did you do then?
So I spent some time. There was another guest on the podcast, Keely.
Keely Yu.
Keely Yu.
Yeah.
He was there.
That's
so
right.
so we hung out together quite a bit. We went to the museum, checked that out. The museum in Nuuk is wonderful.
It's the National Museum of Greenland. Yeah.
Really amazing artifacts and kayaks. They have a narwhal skull that has 2 tusks
Wow.
on it. Apparently that happens every now and then. And so they had one of those, narsocs and paddles and harpoons and all the equipments and sealskin and all the bone carving artwork. So we checked that out. We did a bunch of hiking, went up into the mountains north of the town a little bit. And of course, Keely, being the photographer, spent a lot of time taking photos of things.
Yeah.
So we kind of chased the sunset one evening. We kind of like started at the harbor and then worked our way north toward the apartment I was in, like going from basically rock outcrop to rock outcrop.
Yeah.
There's this one, like if you do like a Google search or something for Nuuk, one of the images that you will see is this row of houses like right on the hill on the ocean. Blues and yellows and reds, all very picturesque.
Yeah.
And then in the background, Semotsiok, the big mountain with the spike on the end of it.
Iconic skyline of Nuuk.
Yeah, that's that sky. That's it's on all of the logos in town. Like that's the recognizable thing.
Yeah.
And so there we were. We're taking that same photo in. It's like 11 at night or something.
Yeah.
But like that. It's nothing special. Like that's just the view out of someone's window. Basically, like that's what it is. So we kind of joked like in Greenland, it's impossible to take a bad photo because you just have to look around.
Yeah.
And everything is gorgeous. There's the ocean. There's mountains. There's ice up in the mountains there. The people are wonderful. It's just.
Well, they talk about for photographers. You take your pictures like right after sunrise or before sunset, the golden hour.
Golden hour,
Well, the golden hour lasts for about 4 hours in Greenland.
At least.
If not all day.
Yeah, like if you get, especially as you get further north. I mean, so Nuuk is south of the Arctic Circle, so it didn't get dark, but the sun did set.
Yeah.
But that it never got dark. Like I remember after competition, we went to the pub. Couple of us and had some beers. There's some parties going on after the event.
Yeah.
And I remember walking back to the apartment at 1 a.m, and there's just people out going for walks, having a lovely time because why not? You can see everything. It was nice weather, and you might as well be out and enjoying it.
Save sleep for wintertime.
Yeah, exactly. Like soak up all of that sun that you can get while you can.
Yeah. So. You eventually had to go back.
Did
the flights go as arranged, or tell me about that?
It was way too easy getting back.
Yeah.
I am almost disappointed I wasn't stuck. I was hoping to get stuck. My last day in Greenland was almost bittersweet in a way because I was like reliving a lot of the best parts. Like I went down to the harbor. I took a couple surveys of a few of the kayaks from the club. Just to kind of remember get the shapes of them.
Yeah.
Like Kayak Nuuk makes really particularly shaped kayaks. They really focus on the racing.
Okay.
So their shape their widest point is shifted really far back.
Yeah.
To make them faster so they don't squat. And so I was like, I want to record some of this. So I was taking a look at the kayaks and Astrid was going to be flying home to Denmark a few days later. So she was buying up crab legs and big chunks of seal meats and blubber and
take
fish
with her
to ship back to Denmark.
All right.
And she went, well, and the weather had shifted before, so there was a bunch of ice in the harbor where otherwise there hadn't been any ice the whole time.
Yeah.
And she told me, like, all right, we're going to go and you need to help me pick up ice so I can ship it back to Denmark. So me and my friends can have gin and tonics with glacier ice from Greenland. So we spent like the whole morning down at the beach picking up big blocks of ice and putting them into freezer bags. Yeah. And then shipping all of the big boxes of, seafood basically to the harbor so they could get into a freezer container so she could get them shipped home. Wow. And so like that really kind of like, I almost felt like I was being packed up to get taken out. And then, back, Nuuk to Iceland. I had a day layover in Iceland.
Straight to Iceland from Nuuk, or you went through?
It was straight to Nuuk, or straight from Nuuk.
On Air Iceland?
It was Iceland, or Iceland Air. Yeah.
Okay. On a smaller plane, because at that point, Nuuk didn't have their big airport yet.
It was a prop plane.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it was straight to Iceland, and because I knew I could have been delayed a little bit, I allowed for a day layover in Iceland. So I had the chance to walk around Reykjavik, which, I always like to tag on extra adventures there. So saw all the sites, went to the National Museum, and ate a lot of food. And then on the plane the next morning and flew to Chicago and hopped on the train and headed home. Right. And it was a bit of a shock.
So you brought your kayak back?
No, it is still on the rack
in Nuuk.
At Nuuk.
You left it there?
I left it there. Yeah. Right. Every now and then, some of the friends I see, I met in Greenland will put photos up online of the kayak rack. Yeah. And every now and then I can be like, there it is. I can see the stern of it sitting over on the bottom. And every now and then it's moved. So I don't know if someone has tried it and taken it out or, just shifted stuff around. I hope someone uses it. That's all they could burn it. I don't care. Yeah. But just the fact that it is still there, it warms my heart. Yeah. Like I left that there for them.
I'll have to take a look for that one next time I'm in Nuuk.
Yeah, it's the one that would fit me. Right. There's not many of them up there. If it's still there.
You don't have anything written in there to indicate yours, but it's just the biggest one I can find. There probably
it might be. Yeah, I did write something in there. I don't know if it would have faded by now or not. I didn't burn it in or anything. Yeah. So, but I'll send you some reference photos so you can see if you can track it down for me. Yeah.
Well, I have to ask. Are you considering going back to Greenland at all? I know you want to.
I do. Yeah, I've been very conflicted this last couple months as we've been talking about it. So last year I kind of had the idea like I would love to expedition in Greenland. So I do a lot of coaching and rolling and stuff, but like this last several years, expeditioning has been my big.
So we're talking about like a week, 3 weeks, 5 weeks,
3 to 4 weeks on the water.
All right.
Long trips. And so in Greenland, I'd probably make like 3-week trip. Thinking something like Ilulissat north to wherever and back along the coast, or maybe Asiat, or somewhere like that. And I had that idea in my head, and it's like, all right, I think I could do this. And I was starting to ask people for some ideas on logistics. And I got thinking about like, I just can't swing it for time off work and the expense of getting there and all of that. So I've pushed it back. So I'm going to do a trip on Lake Superior next summer instead to kind of finish the lake. I've paddled about half of it. I'm going to do the other half. Yeah. But Greenland is still very, very high on my list, but I think I need to expedition there. Yeah. Like I've done the competition. That was really cool. I love all the people I met, but I want to be in the place a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being on the Dubcast with Dubside.
Thanks for having me back.
Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Same here, man.
All right. And that is Tim Gallaway. Recorded October 12th, 2025. And that game he was talking about, it's called Lahal, Lahal, also known as the Bone Game. a fascinating component of indigenous culture with a very long history. They use that game sometimes for gambling, and there are also these special songs that are sung during when they play that game. Check it out, Lahal. Thank you for listening to the Dubcast with Dubside.